been a little while. There's something that's been on my mind lately that I have just really been thinking about. And, I decided I wanted to talk about it. When I first sort of started incorporating knitting into my YouTube channel, it was because I had just come back to knitting. I was going through a really, really rough patch, and somehow I just sort of decided I wanted to get back to this hobby that I've been doing, for 17 years, but I wanted something gentle and easy and slow. And I thought perhaps a scarf would be great. But I know I didn't want, just your typical average type of scarf. I wanted something easy but beautiful, something classic. And so the search began, and soon enough I stumbled across the Sophie Scarf by Petite Knit. As well, many of you have. If you are watching this video right now, you know what the Sophie Scarf is. If you're watching this video right now, it's possible that, my videos helped you knit your first Sophie. And if that's the case, I just want to say that I am so grateful that you found my videos, and I'm so grateful that they helped you to knit this beautiful scarf. So here's what I want to say. Petite Knit and the Sophie have been taking a lot of flack lately, and that bothers me because this, even though it's so simple, it's so clever. I've been knitting for 17 years, and I could never have decided in my mind, I want to knit a scarf, but I want it to look like this, and I want it to have this certain type of edge, and because I want it to look classic and clean. I could never have come up with this. I'm not one of those people that comes up with patterns. I'm not a pattern designer. I'm not, my brain doesn't work like that. But there are those out there who are. And to them, I just say, I'm so glad that you're able to come up with things like that. But this scarf, this simple scarf, is much more than just a scarf for some of us. This scarf right here, well, not this one because I just finished this one, but the first Sophie that I knit was this small little knitting project that helped to bring me out of a depression that I had been going through for a very long time. This simple scarf that when I purchased the pattern, at first I couldn't figure this part out. I was like, wait a minute, I couldn't wrap my brain around how to start it. It took me probably, 1,000 times of starting and ripping out and starting and ripping out until I finally got it. And then I realized, as I was looking on YouTube and I was knitting this beautiful scarf, I wanted to see other people's scarves that they were knitting. And I realized that there were a lot of other women who wanted to knit this beautiful scarf, but they couldn't figure it out either. So I set up a rudimentary filming scheme in my mother's sewing room, and I filmed the very first how to start a Sophie scarf. And the fact that almost instantly I was receiving comments and messages from women telling me how thankful that they were because they had bought this pattern and they really wanted to knit this. They couldn't figure out how to start it. And these weren't just women who were beginning knitters. These were women, sorry, just bonk that. These were women like myself who have been knitting for years, and for whatever reason, it eluded us. I was just blown away at how something so simple, showing how to start a scarf and then later on how to finish that scarf, could just sort of open this whole new world of knitting for women who just, some of these ladies were just starting out. And this was a project that they wanted to do so badly because it was becoming more popular. But they were feeling so bad about themselves because they couldn't figure it out. And I remember one lady in particular told me that she thought she must have been the stupidest woman out there because she had this pattern. She couldn't figure it out. She had almost given up on knitting this scarf. But she had seen this scarf on another knitter and another YouTube video and fell in love with it. And I thought that was how I saw it. I fell in love with this clean, beautiful I-cord edge here. I fell in love with the fact that it was just garter stitch. I didn't have to think. I could start a scarf so small and just continue and continue until it got as wide as I wanted it to be. And then it gets smaller and smaller till it was all done again. I could do whatever I wanted with this scarf. I could put stripes in it. I could knit it in some beautiful variegated yarn. I could knit it in, a classic color that would just be this beautiful pop with any outfit I wore. I could knit it in a very muted color that almost just blended in with my skin, which was kind of what my first Sophie was. And the reason why I used that yarn was because I found a whole skein of it for 50 cents in a thrift store, and it felt soft on my hands. And so I said, wow, that would be a great scarf. I haven't knit myself a scarf in years. And that's what started it for me. And as I knit that scarf and as I showed other women how to knit this scarf, worlds opened up over a simple scarf. So some people say that Petite Knit didn't reinvent the wheel here. No, of course she didn't. I am sure that somewhere out there, a scarf like this had already been knit by some incredibly wonderful knitter. I am sure that there are other patterns that are out there that have been out there for years, like this scarf. And as we have all seen, after the rise of the Sophie, there quickly came behind it lookalikes. Lots of them. Who can blame them, right? Sophie just took off. And with a rise of popularity comes scrutiny. And all of a sudden, women who had previously wanted to find, beautiful knits like this before and really just enjoyed the simplicity of Petite Knit patterns, all of a sudden Petite Knit became the enemy. And well, I'm not going to knit anything by Petite Knit because she's too popular. There's a reason why Petite Knit is popular. Because her patterns, even though they may take a little bit of digging for some of us to understand, with the example of the Sophie, once you knit one Sophie, this pattern is yours in your mind forever to do with whatever you want. You don't need to buy the pattern for the Sophie scarf and then the pattern for the Sophie shawl, because once you knit a Sophie scarf, you know that you can knit this same scarf in any weight of yarn. And it becomes this big, thick, luscious, worsted or bulky weight scarf that's as small and as wide as you want it to be, with a beautiful, clean I-cord edge. And I know this is true because I knit 3 heavy worsted scarves from this simple scarf pattern. I knit one for my mother-in-law and one for each of my daughters for winter, and they wear them and they're perfect and they love them and they're beautiful. I have one daughter who, her scarf, she wanted it to have stripes, so I put stripes in it, green stripes of different widths, and she loves it. I have one daughter who just wanted a tweedy olive green one, and that's what she got. And the other daughter wanted a black one with pops of color, and that's what she got. And they are perfect. These are scarves where, you have the bulk that you need here without the bulk at the bottom. And that's just genius. Somewhere along the line, Petite Knit saw something that inspired her to create this pattern for the Sophie. We don't know what that is. We will probably never know what that is. But every time we see another designer come out with a scarf that's similar to the Sophie that came out after Sophie, well, we know what inspired that scarf. There is a bandwagon, and many have jumped on it. Now, I can't begrudge someone of wanting to jump on a bandwagon, because look, that's why I made my first how to start the Sophie scarf video, was because this pattern was so popular, but I couldn't figure it out at first. And I looked online, and the only other video showing how to do a Sophie was the one from Petite Knit, and it was in Danish, and I couldn't understand it. And it was just, I couldn't understand any of it. So I thought, well, I understand this now, so I'm going to make one. And from that video, it's just, I still get so many messages on that video and on the finishing video. And I get so many messages just through my YouTube alone, and through women who found me on Instagram because of my Sophie video or because of my Cumulus video. I have a friend now that I regularly communicate with, and we talk, and we send encouraging packages to each other all the way up, way far up on the northeast coast. And all because of, I think it was the Cumulus tea video. Here's my thing. There's not a single knitting pattern out there that's going to reinvent the wheel. If something has been made with needles and string now, it was made before. People clamor over super popular designers, all their newest patterns. And then, for example, I just watched a video yesterday about a woman who knit the book club cardigan, and was so excited about the cardigan that she knit, and she showed it to her mom, and her mom turned around and pulled out a sweater from LL Bean that she's had for years that looked almost exactly the same. No one is reinventing anything, but some of these designers are blowing the dust off of old patterns, and they're giving them to us fresh. Some of us out there, we've been knitting for so long that we're always clamoring to find the newest pattern that's going to increase our skill level, and it's going to test all of our skills, and we're going to learn new techniques, and we want to do the latest in Japanese stitch patterns, because oh man, Japanese knitters, woo, they're a breed of all their own. They want the most amazing and intricate Nordic color work, and they want to make all of these unbelievable geometric shawls a la Stephen West. That's not all of us. Some of us have been knitting for years and years and years. And sometimes we sit down and we say, I just want to sit right now. And I want to knit something beautiful that I'm going to use and I'm going to love. And I want to enjoy it. And I don't want to have to think too much about it. Sometimes the most soul-searching thing that we want to think about a project is what yarn we're going to use. Because when you sit down and it's knitting time, and you grab your project bag and you grab your knitting, not all of us want to pull out our pattern and push up our glasses and stay glued to a pattern, and then glued to the stitches, and glued to the pattern, and glued to the stitches. Some of us just want the stillness and the beauty and the freedom and the joy that comes with knitting something so simple, yet so beautiful and so functional, that we are willing to pay a price for a pattern that once you knit it, it can take you so many different places. It can make it your own. But I can figure out how a pattern works, figure out how to knit it, and I can make a demo. I can make a tutorial of it. I can knit it, 10, 20 times, and I can enjoy it every single time. Knit it with different yarns, different widths. This one was knit with fingering yarn on size 2s with a unbelievably gorgeous, luscious skein of Madeline Tosh sock yarn in the colorway Joshua Tree. And this is, out of all the Sophies that I've knit, this is my favorite. This is beautiful. I love it. Not just because of this gorgeous yarn, but because just the Sophie pattern in general. It allowed me to relax while I was on a little mini vacation. It allowed me to have something to do with my hands when my brain was going 150 million different directions, but I didn't have to pull out a pattern. I didn't have to worry about getting sidetracked and then coming back to it and not knowing where I was. It took me 3 days to knit, and I enjoyed every single stitch. And I will tell you that in the future of my knitting, I will probably knit 20 or 30 more Sophies. Because say what you want about this simple pattern, but it's simple and it's brilliant. And that's why thousands and thousands of women, thousands and thousands and thousands of women have knit this scarf. And they will continue to knit this scarf. And they will knit this scarf in fingering weight yarn, in worsted weight, in DK, in sport. They will knit it with mohair. They'll knit it with all the different kind of wools that are out there. They will knit it with acrylic from a box store, and it'll look beautiful. This pattern isn't going away. Petite knit isn't going away. She has a fan base because she knows what she's doing, and because sometimes my knitting friends, sometimes it's not always about the most elaborate brain squeezing pattern out there that just screams, I am an accomplished knitter and look at what I have done. Sometimes the beauty of knitting something, of making something by hand, is that when you wear it, it's understated and it's fabulous. And you can wear this same sweater or scarf that you made in 2024. You can wear it in 2035, and you are still going to look fabulous. It is classic. It's fits you like a dream, like you went to a fancy store and paid $500 for a fancy sweater, but you knit it yourself. Sometimes, many of us knitters, that's what we need. We need someone to gently hold our hand and say, you know, it is okay to knit simple. It is okay to pay for a simple pattern. And it's okay to enjoy it. It doesn't matter how long you've been knitting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't diminish your accomplishments as a knitter in any form because you choose to sit down and knit and enjoy knitting a simple scarf. I have several petite knit patterns, and I've chosen her patterns because they're what I was looking for. They're what I wanted. There are other patterns for sweaters and whatnot out there that I have from other designers that are also very simple looking, classic, clean line patterns. And I chose them from those designers because they were what I was looking for. Because I knew the moment I saw it and I read through it, I knew that's the pattern I want. We need to, as women and as knitters, to stop shaming other women for enjoying the designers that they want to enjoy and for enjoying the simple and beautiful patterns that they want to enjoy and for enjoying the mind-tingling and exciting and fresh and super complicated patterns that they want to enjoy. In a world out there where you and we can't walk through this store without being judged by other women for whatever we've got on our body, how we're wearing our hair, for our jewelry. Can we just, as women knitters, just as knitters in general, can we just let others enjoy the patterns that they want to enjoy and knit the patterns that they want to knit? Can we do that? I think we can, and I think we should. If you want to knit a Sophie, you knit a Sophie. If you want to knit I'm struggling to remember the other Sophie lookalikes names out there. I can't remember them. If you want to knit a Sophie lookalike from another knitter, knit it. Buy her pattern, knit it. If you want to knit a Stephen West shawl, knit it. If you want to knit a simple triangular garter stitch shawl, knit it. Don't let other people and their mouths and keyboard warrior hands affect what you choose to do with your creative time. Okay? Knit a Sophie and give a Sophie. Knit a Sophie for a friend and give a Sophie. Knit a Sophie for Christmas this year and gift it to someone. Show someone else how to knit a Sophie. Yeah. Anyway, those are just my thoughts on all of this going on right now. And if you do not agree with them, that's okay. I'm glad you watched. You deserve a cookie now that you watched my whole rambly video. If you do agree, then I'm happy. And I want you to know my next video is going to be another Sophie video. But it is going to be a Sophie video in which I knit a Sophie and I'm going to give it away to one of you along with some yarn. So keep on the lookout. It's coming. Enjoy your knitting, enjoy your crafting, enjoy your passion, and don't let anyone take that away from you. Okay? Take care.